Good morning, one and all. In the last lecture, we have studied about romantic age. Okay, and today I am going to finish this topic, and we will jump to the next topic in the next lecture. But let us have a quick revision of what we have done in the previous lectures. Romanticism is an artistry, literary, musical, and intellectual movement that originated in Europe at the end of 18th century, and in the most areas was at its peak in the approximate period from 1800 to 1890. Okay, it is being said that it is the partly reaction of the two great revolutions, that is the industrial revolution and the French revolution. Okay, it is not only seen in the literature only, but it can be seen in various arts, that is music, paintings, natural science, education, visual arts, etc., etc., etc. Now what this French and industrial revolution is, we have discussed this in the previous lectures about it. Etymologically, the group of words with the root Roman in various European languages such as Romance and Romanesque has complicated history. Okay, so in general, if we say that what the meaning of Roman is, then it is the work of popular narrative fiction. From that word, the romantic word has come into existence. Then comes the period. Period means the time being, okay, time period of romantic age. We all know that it was the reaction of French Revolution. Okay, so it has started mainly in 18th century AD. Now, what are its features? The first one is imagination. Okay, means what? The basic element for writing a romantic poetry, we should have a imagination power which is different from that of a common people. Then comes the emotional content in it. Okay, due to industrial revolution in the previous age, people were having lack of emotion feelings in it. We can also say that there was no portrayal of emotion feelings of the people in front of everyone. Okay, so the poets of that time were also like that only. They will present what they will see. Okay, but here in the romantic poetries, we are having the emotive context in it. That means what? Emotions are said to be an important part in romantic poetry. Then comes back to nature. Means what? The city life is not being talked about, but the rural life is being talked about, and uh, the innocent part of nature, okay, or perfect nature, we can say, that we seen in the romantic poetries. Okay, and the third is and the last one is the nature is being seen in various types through a good teaching. Okay, suppose if we take the example of PB Shelley's Ode to West Wind, there is one line: if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Okay, now this sentence derives a literal meaning is that after winter spring will come. Okay, so when winter comes, then spring also will come, but the inner meaning says that winter is symbolized as death, while the spring is the rebirth. Okay, uh, so it teaches that if death is not there, then rebirth is not possible. Okay, then we have studied different types of poetry, that is pastoral poetry, nature poetry, oceanic poetry, and graveyard poetry. Pastoral means what? The pleasure of rural life is being portrayed in this type of poetry. Okay, the simplicity of the nature is being portrayed. Nature poetry means the nature is having its physical uh, nature is seen in the physical form in this type of poetry. Oceanic poetry means the poetries which are having a wild and gloomy nature environment in it. Then graveyard poetry means what? The poetries which symbolizes the contemplation of death and immorality. Okay, generally the graveyard and all things are seen in this type of poetry. Then comes Gothic novels where the mysteriousness is seen. Okay, and the first Gothic novel was The Castle of Otranto, given by Horace Walpole. Okay, and due to its mysteriousness in it, the situation, the environment, the characters are such that creates a fear in the mind of people. Now comes the famous authors, or we can say famous literary person of that age. First one is William Wordsworth, who is considered as the first romantic poet or the pioneer of romantic poetry. Then comes Samuel Taylor Coleridge. In this we have also studied the theory of imagination given by him. Okay, he has divided imagination into two types, that is primary and secondary. Primary means what? Everybody has the unconscious imagination in it. Okay, that is called the primary imagination, while the secondary imagination means what? Through consciousness we will have an imagination which creates a poetry, and so he says that a poet should have a secondary imagination to create a poetry. Okay, now this theory of imagination is very much popular among the people, and he is considered as one of the greatest critic through this theory only. Then comes P.B. Shelley. Okay, Lord Byron. In the last lecture we have studied about Lord Byron. Now we will study about William Black. William Black was an English poet, painter and printmaker. Okay, generally the previous poets, or we can say the previous literary persons, were not only having one profession. Okay, they were having a lot many professions. William Black was also an English poet, painter and printmaker. Largely unrecognized during his lifetime, Black is now considered as a seminal figure in the history of poetry and visual arts of Romantic age. Means what? William Black was not being recognized when he was alive. Okay, when he died, after that only he became so much famous that today he is considered as a seminal figure in the history of poetry and visual arts. What he called his prophetic works were said by 20th century critic Northrop Frye to form what is in proportion to its merits the least read body of poetry in the English language. His visual artistry led 21st century critic Jonathan Jones to proclaim him far and away the greatest artist Britain have ever produced. Okay, after his death, many of the critics says that he was one of the great poet and even a great artist. Okay, but he was not that much recognized during his lifetime. In 2002, Black was placed at number 38 in the BBC's poll of 100 greatest Britons. Okay, in BBC poll, the greatest Britons names are being given. Among them, he was numbered 38 in 2002. While he lived in London his entire life except for 3 years spent in Felpham, he produced a diverse and symbolically rich over which embraced the imagination as the body of God or human existence itself. His poetries are very, very good to be read, and it is a pleasure to read his poetries. Okay, and his poetries are very good enough, which makes sense, give a particular sense to our mind. Okay, and the last one is we are studying is about John Keats. John Keats was an English romantic poet. He was one of the main figure of the second generation of romantic poets, along with Lord Byron and P.B. Shelley, despite his works having been in publication for only 4 years before his death from tuberculosis at the age of 25. He was one of the greatest romantic poet, and our romantic poets are being divided into two types, that is first generation and second generation. Okay, and he was considered as one of the greatest second generation romantic poets, along with Lord Byron and P.B. Shelley. He died at a very young age of 25, and the reason for his death was tuberculosis. Although his poems were not generally well received by critics during his lifetime, his reputation grew after his death, and by the end of 19th century, he had become one of the most beloved of all English poets. Like William Blake, he was also not been renowned or recognized in his lifetime, but after his death, he was considered as one of the most beloved of all English poets. He had a significant influence on the diverse range of poets and writers. George Louis Borges stated that his first encounter with Keats' work was a great experience that he felt all of his lifetime. One of the critics says that the Keats' work was a pleasure. Uh, when he read the Keats' work, it was the pleasure for him, and it was. He also said that it was the greatest experience he ever felt in his lifetime. The poetry of Keats is characterized by a style heavily loaded with sensualities, most notably in the series of Odes. Okay, sensuality is one of the important aspect in his poetry. This is the typical of romantic poets, as they aim to accentuate extreme emotion through an emphasis on natural imaginary. Okay, this is the main, we can say, aim of romantic poets, that they portray sensuality in form of nature imaginary. Today, his poems and letters are some of the most popular and most analyzed in English literature. Some of his most acclaimed works are Otto Nightingale's Sleep and Poetry, and the famous sonnet on first looking into Chapman's Homer. Okay, some of his best poems are there in some of the great works given by him are Otto Nightingale, Sleep and Poetry, etc., etc. In our course also, we are having one poem of John Keats, that is the Eve of Saint Agnes. It is very long poem, and we will discuss that in the next lecture. But before that, I would like to start with the novel which is there in our course. Okay, that is Emma by Jane Austen. Okay, so first we will learn about Jane Austen in the next lecture. Thank you, and don't forget to comment your name and roll number in the comment section. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.